I don't think you heard me.
Alright, Eobard Thawne. If there is anything I learned from watching the Goku Black vs Reverse Flash death battle video, he's quite a fascinating character just to start off. He's a character who previously I've never known by name and only knew of him just as the Reverse Flash, but after watching the death battle, watching a bit of the Flash TV show, and researching him online, he's become quite an interesting character that I've grown to like quite a bit. Amongst my favorite list of characters in DC were characters such as Superman and Red Hood, but Thawne definitely goes on that list now. But anyway, enough of all that. Let's go on with an in-depth analysis on the psyche of Eobard Thawne. Keep in mind that there's a few different origin stories that all kind of affect his character differently, so forgive me if I get a couple of things wrong when discussing him. If you understand all of that, great. Let's get to the meat of this video. What is without a doubt the basis of Thawne's character is his obsession with Barry Allen and where this obsession has taken him throughout his life. Thawne started off as a Flash fanboy in the 25th century and had this dream of being Barry Allen's best friend and sidekick basically. To do this, he conducted experiments on himself on how to give himself access to the Speed Force, where in one story he notices Barry's suit still has some wave patterns connected to the Speed Force, allowing him to access Barry's powers that leads him to become the Flash in his time period. Thawne would intentionally put people in danger just so that he has a chance to save them and be just like his hero, Barry Allen. This eventually causes Barry to become aware of Thawne's actions and resorts to put a stop to it, resulting in Thawne feeling betrayed by his hero, thinking that Barry robbed him of his chance of being a hero himself. This starts a petty hatred towards Barry, where he believes Barry was in fact jealous of him instead of understanding he was in the wrong. There's another story where he actually meets Barry Allen and truly believes that they established a real-life connection compared to the imaginary one he had previously established for himself. This all changes when he sees Barry treat Wally West with the same kindness that he gave to Thawne, leaving him distraught, believing what he had with Barry was special and couldn't be replicated with anyone else. He even visits the Flash Museum and sees that he himself is meant to become the Flash's greatest enemy and to die by his hand. This realization pretty much causes him to have a mental breakdown and causes him to turn evil. The reason these interactions he has with Barry are so important to Thawne's character is because this shows that Thawne himself has a sociopathic personality and mindset, where he believes he's entitled to being everything the Flash is simply for being Flash's biggest fan. So take an obsession with someone and add sociopathic tendencies into the pot, and you have a pretty big recipe for disaster in someone's psyche. Even when Thawne wanted to kill Barry for not being everything he thought Barry was, he knew he couldn't do that because in doing so, he'd lose his own powers and wouldn't become the Reverse Flash. So deep down, the best he could do is, in his own words, be every bad day Barry has ever had. But I think that's one of the cool things about his character, because Thawne is a man who is confirmed to be faster than Barry Allen and is literally one of the most overpowered characters in all of fiction due to everything he's capable of just thanks to the Speed Force. His pettiness is something beyond imagination as well, as he can literally use the Speed Force to tear through the DC universe at will with little to no one to stop him. Yet he doesn't do that because he'd rather just use his power for the sake of just being an asshole and literally troll Barry every single day of his life. Even though they are dead opposites of one another, with Thawne being the reverse of every bit that Barry is, they are still connected through the Speed Force, with Barry utilizing the positive Speed Force and Thawne using the negative Speed Force. However, it isn't like Eobard Thawne isn't capable of doing some good, because in the Flash TV show, he agreed to help Barry take down Godspeed as a favor in return for Barry bringing him back after he was previously in Harrison Nash's body, and as a matter of fact, it was because of Thawne's tactics that they managed to take down Godspeed to begin with. Granted, they did have a common enemy, and he did proceed to attack Barry after they beat Godspeed, but it still shows that if they have a common enemy, he's willing to play nice in the moment so that he can beat Barry himself. Thawne and Barry pretty much have a very sick and twisted bromance that seem to go even beyond that of Naruto and Sasuke, and even Hashirama and Madara, because as much as it's said and shown that Thawne and Barry hate each other, Thawne still idolizes and loves Barry as a fan more than anything. Thawne is basically a prime example of a crazed fan finally meeting their idol and harassing them and doing these creepy things to them for their attention, and that's basically all that is. It's literally said in the comics, when asked why Thawne does all of these things, he responds with it being because it's it's the only time he gets to spend with his idol. Granted, it's literally the most fucked up notice me senpai moment, but think about it a little bit. Not that any of Thawne's actions are justified, but if you had the opportunity to spend time with your idol, wouldn't you want to take it? And that's basically Reverse Flash in a nutshell. All he really wanted was Barry's attention and to spend time with them. Now granted, that's mainly the story of the more recent iterations of Reverse Flash, because, as I said in the beginning of this video, there are many more versions of this character, but if I were to dissect and analyze every version of this character, this video would be much longer than it needs to be, so I think this is where I'll stop the video. Eobard Thawne is a neat character in my opinion, and he's quickly become one of my favorites in DC. One thing I'd love to see is a Reverse Flash solo movie or comic with Thawne as the main protagonist. Since he comes from 400 years into the future, I'd like to see him fight someone who threatens his future timeline, because after all, I mean, he was technically the Flash of his time period, and also, since Reverse Flash has a sociopathic personality, it's obvious he'd probably see himself as the good guy for once, and I think it would further add layers to his character of who he is by himself without revolving around his obsession with Barry Allen. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time a DC villain took the spotlight at least once. As I learn more about the other versions of his character, I'll make more character dissection videos on him, so if you guys want to see that, be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know what other characters you think are worth analyzing, and I just might get to them. That's all for today, guys. Matrox Gaming out. Peace.